Oh, the first appearance of Radioactive Man.
And if you don't tell us what we want to know...
Ah, how do I know that it's not a cheap reprint?
Are you willing to take that chance?
Yes. No, I'll tell you what you want to know.
It says right here on the hammer, whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Hold on, who decides who's worthy? Does the hammer decide?
Yes. It can't decide, it's a hammer.
You said it's a magic hammer.
Yeah, but it can't make decisions.
If Harry Potter's wand can make decisions, why can't Thor's hammer?
Okay, if you're gonna start comparing wands and hammers, can't even take you seriously.
What do you gotta do to get comics around this place? One side, Red. Hey, what the hell's going on here?
I was warned about you. Take it easy before I have you removed from the
Warned? What the fuck are you talking about?
Tell him, Steve Dave.
Fuck you, fanboy.
Two testosterone He-Man comic book fans finish up with this split tough guy back and forth. I got some questions I need to answer.
Look, who's in there?
You gotta ask me nicely.
Fuck you. Come on, you fuckers think that just because a guy reads comics he can't start some shit? I'll fucking take all you want.
How much for the phaser gun? For the phaser gun? Sorry, Garfunkel. We don't hawk Trek here. Well then, Slim, if you don't sell the Trek, then why do you have a phaser gun in the case? We keep this one here to suss out Trekkie bitches like yourself and tell them to get the hell off of our land. So get the hell off of our land. Get the hell off of our land! Get the hell out of here! Now! Get out of here, you cock-loving spine suckers!
That's right. Get the hell off our land. I'm your host, Fatty316, and we're repping the Star Wars tonight. Apparently, me and my co-host Maximus G420. What's going on, my friend?
Chilling, baby, chilling, bro. That was great. When I saw that intro, I was like, I picked the right shirt tonight. That's awesome. And it was even a different one from when we went on our comic book tour at the little thing that had a Pontchartrain Center. That was fun.
I love the Mallrats when some guys, the guy who reads comic books can't start some shit, huh? I love that shit.
That was great. He's like, we just keep this up here to fish out you, you little Trekkie bitches.
Right?
Get out. Get off our land. I'm like, what is he, American? What the fuck?
That's a good movie.
Oh, bro, that shit is fucking hilarious.
But tonight's a special night, bro. We got I guess with you, really, our first major guest, a real big guest since you come to the show.
Yep. Because usually it's just a guy with no name, and I don't know.
Yeah,
that's such a special guest.
But let's introduce him. Let's bring him on in, Mr. Jon Mccarthy. How's it going, my friend?
Hey guys, what's happening? I don't know about big guests, but I appreciate you guys having me on the show. Man. I'm looking forward to it.
Everybody's a big guest, no matter what.
Pretty much. Anybody we can get on
Star
here.
Wars.
Hey, you're our first comic book writer. Hey,
awesome,
man.
Hey.
And hey, look, I know it's been years because I was always telling you when I get the show up and running right, I'm going to get you on, and I kept promising and promising. Yep. And Gary could tell you, I went through hell for 2 years just to get it the way I wanted.
He's been telling me for like before I even started, I got to get this guy on. He's like, he's got comics, this and that and this, and I'm like, all right, well, let's get him on. He's like, no, not yet. He's like, we gotta figure it out. He's like, they got the Comic-Con, and we're gonna go see him, and this and that. And he was just excited, bro. He was like a little baby.
That's like awesome, dude.
He was like 8 years old. He's like, I want him on. I was like, we gotta get him on. I'm like, all right, bro, let's get him on. Like,
I'm happy you want me to do. Up and running, Chris.
I'm like, you run everything, bro. I'm just here, for eye candy. That's it. That's all I'm here for. I'm just eye candy.
And it started as a regular old podcast on Anchor. Just a couple episodes with me with some people and. Jeff, it escalated with Jeff, and we brought it to YouTube, and Gary came on board, and it's where I want it to be. Got a little following, and it's fantastic, and everybody's been great, man. And we have,
it's awesome,
and we're having fun with it.
That's the important thing. As long as you're having fun with it, it's always nice to do a creative project, regardless of whatever area that you're doing it in. It's a lot of fun to put things like this together, and you build it from scratch, and then you kind of see an end result. It's awesome. So I'm really happy to be here, man. And I'm happy for you to get it going.
Oh, no, thank you. And I appreciate you for coming. And I promise this won't be the only time you come on, man. I promise that.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But let's talk about why we're here. John's a comic book writer. He's been doing them for how long you been doing them now, John?
I mean, the first comic I put out was like 2009, 2010. I did that with our mutual friend, Sean Zerny. but I haven't been like consistently creating them.
Dug
Hey,
it
there
from
it
the
is.
vault.
Dude,
I
that's
dug
one
it
of
up from the vault.
That's one of the rare copies that made it out into the world there. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. But I haven't been creating them consistently since then. But yeah, technically since 2009 or so, I'd say.
Yeah, it's all that matters is when you start. It doesn't matter if you just kept on going consistently or not, bro. It's
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing the whole time, but I just haven't been putting them out into the world the whole time. So yeah, I guess we could officially say, what's that? Got 14 years now.
Yeah, there you go.
And you also published a book too.
Yeah, I did a couple of books in between that
Okay.
period of time. Did a children's book. I did a nonfiction book about my time with New Orleans EMS and working with our friend Sean there. And then I most recently did one like a nonfiction like guidebook for parents.
That's what's
So
up.
that's the stuff outside of comics that I did.
Well, let me ask you this: what got you into comics, or just writing in general? Because it seems like you have a couple different avenues and a couple different things you've gone through.
Yeah, I think man.
He's breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up, John.
His face is great. I ask him a question. He's like, "Well,
Hold on, there we go. I don't know what the hell happened there,
There we go.
but yes, live.
I was gonna say we would edit that out, but we're live, so
Yeah.
the show must go on."
Right. But, no, I was
Oh, son of a
fan,
bitch!
and writing and stuff as well. You know, I've always have a big fan of writing my own stories, kind of coming up with stuff from scratch. You know, so I guess pretty much most of my life I've been interested in this type of stuff.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Was there anybody in the family that did writing as well, or
No.
or was there somebody that you looked up to, or you're like, man, I want to do this, or I want to do that, or I read this guy's thing and it just drew me to that, and it was like this. Okay, this is like something. Then you found obviously a passion for it because you've done so many different projects, which is awesome.
Yeah. I found out that way later in life, before my father passed away. I found out he was a writer. He would write some on the side. You know, he never really pursued it or did a whole lot with it. But so maybe that was where the genetic link came from to creating this way. I'm not sure. But as far as comic books, man, I mean, I grew up. The first things I remember reading were probably like these really old Fantastic Four comics, and then I discovered Wolverine, which was a big moment for me. And then I just really been kind of reading them forever since then, dude. You know, but as far as like writers that I follow, not until probably the last 10 years or so that I find like actually start really paying attention to who is creating these stories. Most of the time I was just consuming them as I could find them, you know, without really worrying about who made them, just kind of more about the characters and stuff.
That's what's up.
You had something to say, Gary? Something else?
No, I was just.
No, I was going to ask John if you want to get into the book Endangered, because I read it. I got through the first 4 issues, and
yeah,
it's crazy. To me, it's a story that don't even belong in a comic book. It should be a novel, because I feel like there's so much that we're not going to know because it's going to be short.
Yeah,
it's like I could only love to pick your brain on the details of like. I mean, because I know in a comic book you can only limit it so much info you put into it. I can imagine what you did to like the whole complete story of it, because I mean it shocked the piss out of me. I thought the art was good. I loved the art.
The art was great. I've gotten through the first 2.
Yeah,
it's been a long week. It's been a hard week, and I gotta go back through them so I can get the story straight again, because it's just life and whatnot.
Sure.
So
I think if you made it through the first 2 of them, I feel like those were almost meant to be together, that's what I would tell everyone with because the first one, I really wanted to get a lot of the setup and kind of establish the world and the rules of things in that first issue, so that we could really commence on the action and the pacing for the rest of the series. And that really kind of picks up in issue 2. So it's almost like those 2 are like really complementary. But I know I appreciate it. That's really nice. I'm really happy that you guys dug it, man. But that's a story that I'm really happy that we did. Hopefully we'll get to finish it up sooner than later. We did 4 issues, and it was originally supposed to be an 8-issue series, with always possibilities. It was something you establish such a big world like that you could really branch off of it into a million different ways.
Get all the stories. Yeah.
It was kind of like just introducing it with these first round of characters, but there's so much stuff that's happening in there that you could really, you could tell another story in that world through another character's perspective and things like that, if it were to be received and really do well like that.
Off the
But
top of my head of what I've already read, there's like 5 different stories alone. I mean,
Yeah.
I could maybe 6. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe 7. I mean, there's so much. Like I said, it's that I mean, I feel like there's so much to know about what like the John, actually, before we go any further, kind of give the audience a little psyops of what Endangered's about.
Yeah, a little backstory of how it was not how it was created, but yeah, how that world became to be that
what the book's about. I mean, just a little psyops.
So the concept originally started. I was just sitting out on my house, and it was on the driveway, kind of spacing out. And I just looked down, and I saw these ants like doing their ant business, and I was like, bro, could you imagine if those things were the size of like a dog? You know, you wouldn't be able to go outside if insects were that size. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea, and it kind of took root in my brain. So what the concept is it's slightly set into the future, and it's funny you mentioned the backstory, because the plan eventually was to do the 8 issues with these characters, and then hopefully that would do well, and then I could go back and kind of show some events that occurred right before the issue 1 takes place, kind of like a prequel thing. But the concept is it's slightly set into the future. Everyone's kind of chaotic, and everybody's at each other's throats, kind of like it is now. And I kind of was like, if that continues, where we all remain so divided and everybody's so pissed off at the other person for their political views or whatever it might be, that's not tenable for a while. That's going to end badly, So in my story, that continues to snowball, and then eventually what happens is it results in global nuclear war. But it's kind of been predictable. There's these smartest people on the planet have all kind of come together and formed this like scientific kind of coalition that's run by this one guy, this Dr. Galley, who you see in the book there. And they kind of see it coming, So they convince these world governments to build this massive space station. We call it a space colony up above Earth. And they kind of sell them on it and tell them that they're building the ultimate weapon, and if you're a part of this, then you'll be able to control the world. But in reality, they weren't building it as a weapon. They were building it as a refuge for them all to escape when the shit hits the fan. So the story opens up at the moment those bombs are kind of hitting. The first page, you see New Orleans get wiped off the map. But I
was so surprised. I'm like, okay, this is page 1. All right, cool. This is where we're going. All right,
we kind of got into it pretty quick there.
Well, that's great, though. I love that. I love that like
space station. So everyone is wiped out. So which results in the human being becoming an endangered species. So everyone's thought, at least, the only surviving members of the human race are up on this space colony above Earth. You find out later on that there actually are some that survived Earth and have kind of become this kind of tribal, primal, devolved version of a human being. But these guys up in space, they go up there and they have this long plan. The main guy up there, Dr. Galley, he's invented this substance called cohesion, which it's a organic chemical that binds radioactive material. And he knows that, okay, we can pick out a specific geographic area of Earth below us. We can rain this thing down into the atmosphere. And over time, it's going to basically soak up that radiation that's down there, and it'll make it safe for us to return. So that all takes place and occurs over the course of about 50 years. But what he doesn't realize is, because it's an organic substance, that there are lots of species of insects that survived the nuclear war, and those things have been eating this shit. Well, it kind of, the stuff mixed with the radiation, sci-fi little trick there, kind of facilitates the evolution of these insects, and there's nothing left on the planet to keep them in check, so they just start growing at this exponential rate, to the point of where you have spiders now are the size of like SUVs or minivans, and that's kind of the setup in that issue 1. And then issue 2 is they put together a little team to come back down to be the first ones to try to recolonize Earth and reestablish the humanity's footprint on the planet. And they learn the hard way that it's not just a welcoming planet waiting for them to return to, that they're going to have to deal with now these massive ass size insects, some of which are cool, just like, it's kind of like Jurassic Park. I always throw Jurassic Park in there when I'm describing this, but there's no dinosaurs, obviously, but I say Jurassic Park because it's in that similar context where you have certain species of dinosaurs who are predatory, who are going to tear your ass apart. And then you have other ones that are just cool and chilling that are there. Same with bugs. If bugs were that size, some of them are going to try to kill your ass, but other ones, beetles and things like that, are just going to be like, hey, what's up? They're not going to bother you.
Like, hey, look at what's up, little man.
Yeah. So they come back down here and they discover that the hard way. and then it becomes a fight for them just to stay alive for more than a day, to the point of where they can actually try to get some backup, some help down here to solve this problem. And then it just snowballs. It's like one bad thing leads to another bad thing, and they're losing team members, and bugs are there, and then they encounter these freaking survivors, like I said, who are kind of like a tribal group. And those people have kind of, like I said, devolved a bit. They're not relying on technology like the space people have become for the past 50 years. These folks now, most of which have been born into this world, so they are very much the strong will survive, the weak will die. They hunt. They've been hunting these insects for food, and they kind of wear their like exoskeletons as like armor to protect and intimidate.
Just like any indigenous tribe.
Yeah. So it kind of. And then the goal is eventually, and we don't really get to do it in the first 4 issues, but the second half of the series, whenever we can resume it, is going to deal with that a lot more. You're going to really have this kind of nice. I wanted to kind of play around with showing 2 different types of human being. One who's really reliant on technology, like a lot of us are today, and then others that
right
don't.
Now.
Yeah, others. You're right. Others that aren't relying on that, who can, if the shit hits the fan, they can pick up the nearest thing around them and kill whatever's, So play around with those kind of themes and stuff. So hopefully we'll get to do the last 4 issues. That's the plan. But that's all the kind of setup for the first 4. So it's a series I really like. I'm happy with it. And you mentioned the art earlier. I want to kind of address that. The art team on this book is fantastic. We got really lucky picking them up. Ron Joseph is the penciler, so the main visuals you're seeing are based off of his pencils, and then he kind of inked over his pencils on the first book, and then we brought in a second inker named Larry Welch for the second book and onward. And then we have this incredible colorist that we found, who is a new guy really to comics. He's in Spain. He'd only done a couple of Spanish comics over there. This was his first series where he actually came into the American comics, but he's awesome. We worked with him since then. And then finally, got him. His name's Hav, is what he goes by. But then we brought in this guy named Garrett Berner, who's a really awesome graphic designer and who does all our lettering and designed the logo and does all the sound effects and all that kind of stuff in the book. So we have a really, really kick-ass team on the thing, and that's why it really looks awesome. I don't take that much credit for it because I just wrote, and those guys were the ones that really brought it to life. They did a fantastic job.
Humble, of course you are. Yeah, the guy who created it is like, it's nothing. It's everybody else.
I appreciate it, but it is a visual medium. When you come to the table, you have to have a story, obviously, and you have to have a script to work off of. Sure, but without those guys, man, it would just still be sitting in a file on my hard drive somewhere on my laptop, like so many other scripts that I have on there. So I really do give those guys the lion's share of the credit for it looking and coming out the way that it turned out.
And y'all are so superior to a lot of the mainstream shit. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Flubber. Then shit coming out today, because I've seen some of the art and some of the artists. I mean, they're so wrapped up in their own shit, they don't even worry about the comic or the actual product anymore. And that's why when we were talking, I was like, I've gone so far from mainstream to more indie stuff, and I'm enjoying it a lot better. Yeah,
I mean, there's still good stories being told, I think, in mainstream comics with Marvel and DC, and honestly, even though Image Comics is an independent publisher, they're damn near as big as Marvel and DC, so you might as well throw them in there. There's some really good stories being told in there, but you're right, man. I mean, sometimes when guys get those jobs with those big companies, and that's what they work for their whole life, but they're not fully, I guess, maybe as invested in those characters because that's not their characters. They've inherited Spider-Man or Batman from the hundreds of other guys who have done that character before them. So, they obviously want to do good work because they're getting paid, pretty good money usually, to my understanding. But I feel like with an independent comic, it's the further you get removed from the passion of the creator, I feel like it's gonna a lot of time bleed over into the pages a bit. So that's why sometimes you see, like, every once in a while you'll get someone that'll break through that. There's a guy named James Tynion IV, who's a really, really one of the best, I think, current writers of comics today. He did some really, really cool stuff on Batman. Tom King is another guy who's incredible. He did a Mr. Miracle book for DC, man. That's one of the best comic books I've ever read. It's fantastic. But so you have guys that are telling, and those guys, you could tell when you read that, even though those aren't their characters, they love those characters, and it comes across in the stories, I feel like. But you're right, man. Unfortunately, a lot of times it seems like guys are just taking a job. You know, they come on to Marvel, and they might have went to Marvel to draw Spider-Man, but you know they might not be on the level to get Spider-Man, so they might wind up drawing, you know, some, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy or something that they don't really give that much of a shit about. So they're gonna do it, but it might
or a
not
secondary
be
character or a background character, and you're just like, oh,
Well, I think a lot
that's
of
my
for the big job.
theory, at least, of why you lose a little bit sometimes in mainstream comics versus independents.
I think a lot of people today, especially the ones at the mainstream Marvel and DC, that they're riding on other people's successes. I don't think they could come up with. I mean, like you said, there's a handful that can still do it, but I think a lot of people are using, you know, they're using the work of others.
Well, some of that's honestly not even on the creator. It's kind of like you can make it kind of probably a fair comparison with film. When you're an independent filmmaker, or you make your own movie, maybe like a $1 or $2 million kind of low budget independent film that really blows the doors off of things, and then that lands you a gig directing a MCU movie, you lose a lot of the control
and the freedom.
Yeah, whenever you take those bigger corporate gigs like that, because if you're drawing for Marvel, you're not drawing for Marvel. You're drawing for the Disney Corporation. Same with DC. You're drawing for Warner Brothers. I think Warner owns DC Comics as well. But anyways, you have a lot of people you're beholden to, and you have a lot of people giving you notes, you know, and that's why you see a lot of times on those big budget movies, sometimes they shit the bed, is because there's too many chefs in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was getting ready to say too. Chefs in the kitchen.
So I think that carries over with comics as well, because those creators, they don't have necessarily the freedom to do everything they would like to do. So it's hard to say sometimes whether it's just a creator's lack of talent or lack of motivation for a project versus they weren't able to do what they wanted to do, if that makes sense. You know,
they don't have.
I don't know, because I've never done that shit, but you know, I've never worked for those guys. But that would be my guess from the little bit I know about comics.
They don't have the freedom because they don't have the money.
Yeah,
when you do an independent, like you said, it's you taking, you know, all the responsibility of everything. Whereas when you have a multi-billion-dollar studio behind you, it's a lot easier to fuck up or to delay a project or to start a different project. But you don't get that option when you're an independent. But that's what makes it better, because I think you get to focus more on just this one thing, and you get a good group, which it sounds like you got a great group behind you, because those first 4 editions are awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, so when it comes to books like what we're doing, the buck stops with me. Like that, if something's shitty, then it's on me, because I am basically the end guy who looks at the art and matches up the story and all that stuff. So, and that's pretty much the thing for independent comics. You know, definitely with the smaller publishers and stuff like where I'm at and where a lot of other guys are at, like, you're getting the direct output from that person. There's no other, you're the chef in that kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So whatever recipe, whatever dish comes out, you're responsible for whether it tastes like shit or not. You know, you know what I mean? So I try to make stuff that tastes good.
Now, let me ask you this, John. Now we're going to have some fun.
All right.
What was your favorite?
Do you pee in the shower? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. That's not what we're doing?
That's not
what kind of fun we're doing?
I have.
Everybody pees in the shower. I always tell everybody, it's people that pee in the shower and people that lie about peeing in the shower. That's
exactly. Exactly.
My bad, Chris. Sorry, I thought we were going a different direction. You're going fastball. I thought curve, but it's all good. Go ahead.
Don't make me do a U-turn on this podcast. Gary, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
John, what was your favorite era comic book, John?
Favorite era?
Yeah.
Man, honestly.
Like, that you grew up with. I mean, not talking about like the golden era. I mean, I know none of us around for the golden era.
You know, I think the natural answer would be, you know, so many of the characters that I love today, at least in the big name books, you know, most of those dudes came out in like that Silver Age and Bronze Age era, you know, Spider-Man and all the Batman and all those guys. I mean, not Batman, he's a Golden Age guy. But honestly, dude, I would say in the past probably 15 years, there's been some of the best comics I've ever read. I mean, my favorite comic book of all time is Invincible, you know, Robert Kirkman's Invincible story. Mm-hmm. And I love that fucking comic book. And that was like a 2003, 4, 5, 6, somewhere around there that came out. So if I had to say my favorite comic era of the best comics that I've read, I would probably say the past 15 years have probably put out I don't want to say the best stories, but I have such a soft spot in my heart for those old Silver Age books that I read as a kid. And then the Bronze Age stuff, like I said, the Wolverine and all that stuff. That character
90s.
came out. Yeah, that character came out in the late 70s, Wolverine. So, but yeah, that's the answer, I guess, is like sentimentally and like iconically, bowing in deference to, it would be that Silver Age, Bronze Age, 60s, 70s era. But as far as some of the best stories cumulatively, I think probably in the past 15 years, in my opinion. Because like you, honestly, that when I say that, I don't mean the best Marvel or DC stories that have come out in the past 15 years. There's been so many good fucking comic books made that, that's what I mean when I say that. Because I'm kind of like you. I typically gravitate towards reading, not always independent, but I do I always try to explore as many independent titles as I can, more so than like the latest Spider-Man book or Hulk or whatever might be coming out.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
I would say like the 91 through the 94 years was for me. That after the
Spawn.
Well, I keep saying
that's one of his favorites.
Death of Superman changed the game. It was like you go to a comic book shop before the Death of Superman, there was like 3 people in there. You go there on a Saturday after the Death of Superman, there was about 20 people in there.
I was there for that. Yeah, I was there for that. It was all that same time.
And that changed it. People started getting into comic books, and that's when Image blew up. You had Valiant coming back, taking over Gold Key. I mean, you had Dark Horse that was starting to blow up. I mean, you had all these, and they were competing with Marvel and DC. It wasn't just like they were just cornering the market. DC,
they
Marvel.
almost that era
Image almost put them all out of business.
Well, the Image stuff almost killed comics completely, dude, because it got that studio started. That was when you had a bunch of like rock star artists who were like, they were making money hand over fist. I mean, Google how much money Todd McFarlane was making at Marvel when he left there to go form Image with those other guys,
with Rob and Jim Lee and all that.
Yeah, I mean, but you go back and read those early Image books. In my opinion, most of them are fucking garbage. They may have pretty art in it, but the stories are stupid because it really wasn't what the emphasis was at that time. Everybody loved that's why everybody had all the 1,000 pouches on them and the giant guns and all that stuff. That was the kind of thing. But they were selling so many comic books, man. Like I had a conversation. I got really lucky at a convention I was at. I think it was about a year or so ago in Slidell. Jim Shooter was there. Jim Shooter, for those who don't know, was like the editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics throughout the 80s and shit at their peak. I mean, he's a legendary creator of himself. He oversaw the Secret Wars projects and all that stuff. I had a nice conversation with him, and he told me in his era of Marvel, if a book wasn't selling at least like 200,000 to 300,000 copies a month, it was at risk of being canceled. Dude,
shit.
Right now, that would be probably the highest selling book now, pulling like 200,000-300,000 copies.
I couldn't even imagine anybody pulling that much right now.
Oh, it's crazy. And then you look at like that Jim Lee X-Men books that they did. That's the biggest selling comic book of all time. That thing was like 5 or 6 million copies sold. Spawn 1 was like 3 million. But it created such a massive bubble that when it burst, it almost took down comic books. I mean, it almost killed the whole industry, really. And that may be a little hyperbolic, but I mean, I was there in that shit. I remember when it happened. I remember what you're talking about. I mean, everybody thought they were going to go buy that Death of Superman book or that Bane breaking Batman's back book and put it away in a safe somewhere, and their kid would be retired from college.
The old baseball card thing that happened in the late 80s, same thing happened. They overproduced.
They were spending so much money on these comics, the collectible value, because everyone thought they were going to get rich on it at the time. They didn't realize, because the internet didn't exist, the supply and demand, that there was this massive demand. But guess what? There's also this massive supply to meet it. So ultimately, in the long run, you can get those books nowadays that people were paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for back when they came out. Shit, you can get those things for $5 to $10 right now because there's just so many of them out there.
The market was saturated. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
that's what happens with every good thing.
You can get the black bag Death of Superman like for $30 now, and it was like, and back then after you'd have to go buy it off the wall. It was like $50.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
I remember going into a comic book shop I was in Savannah, Georgia at the time. That was in like 1993, 94-ish, I think. And at that time, you could have probably gotten a Hulk 181 Wolverine's first appearance.
Oh,
for
I know what that
as
is.
much as you would have paid at that time for one of those Superman books. I mean, it was everybody was focused on collecting, but nobody was focusing on collecting the right shit. Really,
You know what,
as
John?
much.
I remember this. Don't ask me why. In early 1993, 181 was around 285.
Yeah, I believe that.
I
I'm pretty
remember
sure
that from a wizard.
I'm pretty sure there were copies of those Superman books and that Batman book that were probably breaking that several $100 mark at its height. Because again, you could go to a comic shop and the guy's like, I only got 2 copies available, highest bidder, and he'd slap a price.
Exactly.
You didn't realize that you could drive 20 minutes away and somebody else had other because the internet didn't exist.
I was going to say, there was no
that
technology.
shit.
Yeah, there was no unless you had a friend in another town. You had no idea.
You thought you were in there and you're like, shit, if I don't buy this thing now, he's only got 2 of them. I'll never have one of these and I'll miss out. And, it just was what the thing it was. And, if you would have bought a Hulk 181 at that time for $200, depending on, you can't get that book now.
And they weren't even grading them back then really yet. I mean, that wasn't
book,
even a thing yet.
Yeah, that book hits about $1,000 a grade point. So, a 5.0, so a mid-grade copy is going to cost you probably $3,000 to $5,000 right
Wasn't
now.
there 2 of them, Chris, at the Comic-Con over at Kenner?
Oh, John owns one. I know.
I have one.
He bragged about it on Facebook. I was like $30.
Dude, I got mine. Mine's a 6.5, and it was graded a 6.5. I got that thing in 2019, and it was about a $1,600 investment on it. But hell, now,
damn.
Oh, he
now
tripled it by now.
Yeah, it's easily tripled that. I wound up getting it signed by a couple of guys, and it's graded again. It's still a 6.5, but it's probably a $6,500 book, $7,000, something like that.
I believe at a 6.5.
Yeah. I'll never sell it because my son's named after Wolverine, and he kicked in a little bit with me to help me get that book because he was working full time.
That's one of them things you don't get rid of. Yeah,
that'll be an heirloom.
You named your son Wolverine?
No, Logan.
Well, almost.
No, I know it's Logan. It was a joke, bro. We all know what the hell I'm doing here. Come on, man.
I got you. But
no, he named him Jean Grey.
I was going to say I've actually seen a 0.1 go for $200.
Wow, yeah, you're killing
like
it if you
3
could get one of
pages
those.
and the cover. Yeah, people will buy just the cover for that fucking book.
Yeah,
that's fucking ridiculous.
It's actually down
that's
now, probably as low as it's been for a little bit. I don't imagine it's going to go much lower than you could probably get one now, but it's still even freaking hell of expensive. But yeah, back in the 90s, if you would have bought that book for $200 and whatever it was dollars,
oh my god, I'm so happy right now. Yeah,
versus $150 or whatever you would have had to drop on that Superman issue at the time. Yeah, you'd be killing it right now.
Yeah, right. And all the money I spent on books. Well, actually, I worked in a shop back then too.
I love going back and looking occasionally at those old Wizard magazines, those old price guides at the time from that era, and just seeing how much you could have gotten those books for versus what they're worth now. It's like, Jesus, dude, it's insane.
You think about all the stuff that we had as kids, and we're just like, God damn it! Why did I have to read this? Why did I have to read it? Why did I have to play with this toy? Why couldn't I just keep it in the box? Because we wanted it. Because that's what we did. Because like you said,
I still have
no internet.
I still have a handful of comics from when I was a kid, but when I went into service, I went to boot camp, and all those old Fantastic Four books I had now, which would probably be worth $50 to $100 a piece now minimum. My mom sold them all at a garage sale for like 25 cents a piece because she didn't know anything. So there was a couple that I had that survived, and I still have those. I mean, I only probably have like maybe 4 of them left.
You sound like me with the toys, like all the action figures. It's like, oh my god, I had that. My god, it's like $10,000 now.
I had so many Transformers still in the box because I didn't play with them a lot, and I was a weird kid where I would play with the toys, certain toys, and then I would put them back in the styrofoam container and put them back in the box and close it up and put it away. And everybody's like, why would you do that? I was like, because I only played them certain times, right? I was like, I didn't need the space shuttle this mission.
Yeah, okay? Dude, trust me.
I didn't need my Star Wars, my TIE fighters. I didn't need those right now. I put those back away, and I don't even know where they're at. Like, I swear to God, I think they're still in a house in Alexandria when I moved to Alexandria. And I think they're in the attic somewhere. Unless my parents took it when they moved, because I moved out of there before they did. So hopefully when they move to Florida, it's somewhere in my parents' attic, because that'd be awesome. Because I got some money.
If not, whoever moved into that house was probably super happy when they went into the attic the first time.
or they were just like, we'll just sell it at a garage sale. And somebody who came to that garage sale, like Gary V or some shit, fucking rolled up and was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Made a fortune.
Wow. No, I want to go back on something y'all talking about with Image.
Still with me?
I was going to
I got
agree.
you.
Yeah.
I was going to agree with John about the art early on because Spawn. I'm a diehard Spawn guy. It's my favorite comic book character of all time. The story is what made Spawn. It wasn't so much the art. I think he got better like later on down the road. What perfected Spawn for me was the animated series. That perfected Spawn for me.
Cool show.
On HBO, yeah, that was a cool move. Yeah,
that's the first time you ever seen a comic book like really come to life, and it was like to the
agree.
T. And I could watch that to this day.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Awesome.
It's that good. What's old boy who played his voice? Oh, now I got a mind blank now.
He does this all the time. I don't remember.
I can't think of his Keith David.
Keith David, yep.
He was the perfect voice for Spawn.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that with Todd McFarlane going into Image, it's the same thing as if you compare it to like sports cars. Well, Ferrari was out first, but then that bred Lamborghini because Lamborghini worked for Ferrari. Told him, "So you don't know how to make a car." He's like, he's making tractors, because people that's a little tidbit of information that I know that a lot of people know that are, especially if they're in their cars, but people don't realize that Ferrari bred Lamborghini and then Lamborghini bred Pagani, which is now the new supercar that's out there. Yeah,
nice.
a guy that worked at Lamborghini started off at the bottom, got all the way to the top, that wanted to try some different stuff with carbon fiber and this and that, and then so it's the same thing with like Todd McFarlane. He's like, you know what? I see what you guys are going, but I got something over here that I think might work a little better. They're like, no, it's not going to happen. Okay, we'll see, and then look what happens.
Well, if you think about McFarlane, he conquered the 90s with the Image. Then he went in the 2000s with the action or the figures. He blew up the figure market.
Yeah.
I mean, with that first line, the Movie Maniacs, and that was it. It was all downhill from that with him.
He's still cranking them out too, man.
And he got licenses. I mean,
it couldn't have happened to a better guy, because I've had the pleasure of meeting him probably almost a dozen times. Super cool dude. Always very grounded, very appreciative of his fans. Always takes time to talk to folks. He's a good dude. Really like that guy a lot.
Yeah, CERN got my #1 sign when y'all went one year, and it's framed. That's my prized possession. Yeah,
nice.
My favorite character. You know,
I'm gonna break into Chris's house and hide it from him.
I'll kill you.
Yeah, I saw Todd out there in San Diego this past July. Yeah, again, he's a super cool dude, man.
Do you got any more Comic Cons or anything coming up soon?
Yeah,
I'm actually able to check you out at.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be at the St. Tammany Collector Con over in Mandeville, Louisiana. That one is it's mid-October. I'd have to double check the date on it. And then towards the end of October, I think it's the next weekend maybe, I'm going to go do the Rougarou Fest in Homa. Is the plan? Yeah, because I've got a werewolf comic coming out November 1st, which is called Loop Guru, the other name of the Rougarou, and I'm gonna have a version of that book especially made for those two shows. So we're gonna have an exclusive variant that I'll have at those two conventions. But those are the next two that I have lined up, and I don't think I have anything else scheduled until the end of the year for appearances or anything like that.
Here we go, John. Our friend Chris Matthews asked, "You guys remember Deathmate?" Yeah, it was pretty much. It kind of.
What do you say, Deathmate?
Yeah, I think that was almost like the downfall. I mean, it was bigger than it actually was.
Yeah, well, that was
bigger than it would actually.
That was the Gen 13 book that
crossover with Image and Valiant.
I think Gen 13 appeared in Deathmate.
I mean, they mixed them all up. I couldn't even.
That
tell
was
you
the one that had the blue, the black, the gold.
Yeah,
and all that. Yeah. They were just fucking cashing checks, dude. That
Valiant was
crapping out anything. Yeah, they were shitting out anything they could get their hands on, and people were buying it like fucking crazy. And I'm telling you, today, compare the sales numbers of back then to what it is today. Man, it is insane. When you start talking, you love Spawn, so when you start looking at Spawn, so when that title got into like the 200, some of the most expensive Spawn comics you can get today, because the print runs drop down to like 20,000, 30,000 print run, so you have Spawn #1 that was probably 3 million, and then by the time the title gets to the 200s, and it kept going though, but then your print runs drop down, like I said, into those 20, 30,000 range, so it's a lot smaller market, so they're usually a lot more valuable.
I was going to say, when they had the one thing about Valiant, they didn't have the greatest stories, but they brought in the new wave of the covers, the glossy
Oh, they had
covers
some
with
cool.
the
Yeah,
glossy
they had some
pages.
cool shit. Yeah,
they
had
brought
some cool
that
shit.
in. They kind of transferred over from the old pages to the glossy pages. I mean,
Valiant also they also scored. They were the
Well,
first ones
Turok.
to make. They were the first ones to make Nintendo based comics. So they did the Mario Brothers, Zelda. Yeah, they did had that line. Those things are expensive as shit now too. Like 1991.
I've heard of those, but I've never seen one. Like that
I've got a couple.
It was one of those rumors where like somebody says, "Yeah, I got a comic book of Mario." Sure, you do.
Yeah,
sure you do.
No,
Yeah, okay.
I have a couple of them. I actually got one that got it signed by Charles Martinet, which was pretty cool.
No, but I'm just talking about but back then.
Yeah, oh yeah. Back then,
you'd be like, whatever, bro. Like, yeah, sure. Like, you got a girlfriend in another city. Sure, you do.
Yeah, everybody was getting Cyforce and Turok, and those are the Valiant comics they were scoring. But the Valiant had some cool books, man. They had some cool stories. I know some people who love those '90s Valiant books.
I knew I still had it.
There you go.
That's the same one I bought when I was, I think, 16 or 15. Yeah,
but. Yeah, that character. Yeah, and then they made the video game about that after. But he existed, I think, I think that might have been a Golden Age character originally.
Yeah, him. Yeah. There was another one. Was it Adam? Who was that? The guy Solar. I think it was Solar.
Solar, Man of Adam.
Yeah, I think he was, and Magnus. I think they won.
Magnus, Robot Hunter. Yeah, or Robot Fighter. Yeah,
and they just redid them and.
They're still putting them out too to this day, man. I don't know who has those licenses, but somebody's still making those.
Oh, yeah. Turok?
I don't know about Turok, but I think they're still doing Magnus. I don't know about Solar, but I saw somebody recently publishing some of those old Valiant titles. But yeah, it was a crazy time.
And that was the big picture too. I remember for Deathmate with Solar and Supreme, they were like mating, I guess.
Yeah. There's all these rumors. Yeah, there's all these rumors that they're gonna some of those properties might be adapted into films. Like Jake Gyllenhaal, I think his company or somebody bought the rights to one of those damn Image books. I don't think it was Supreme, but one of those like that. One of those superhero books like that. And McFarlane, he keeps talking about doing another Spawn movie.
I hope he does.
I don't. Just leave it. leave it at the animated series. Put it in 4K.
I think Jamie Foxx was on board with it, so it'll probably happen. Who knows? But yeah, they've been talking about it for a while. I think the problem was Todd originally said he wanted to direct it, and those studios are like, "Are you fucking crazy? That's not going to happen."
We're not going to give you all this money. What are you
No. So I don't know where that's at now, but he keeps talking about it. So it's a cool story, man. They could tell a lot of really cool ass stories within the Spawn universe. It's a massive. Again, it's kind of, way bigger than Endangered. Like I said, that book's now well into the 300 issues, and it keeps telling cool stories with it. So who knows? They keep selling well nowadays.
Oh shit! Now I just have a mind blank. Jesus,
he does this every time.
I do, bro. I had the thought in my head, and now it's gone.
The ghost of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, I smoke just as much as he do, and he forget everything.
I don't.
He's like, I was about to say something.
I didn't do it tonight in respect of our guests. I want to be focused tonight, but apparently it didn't friggin' work.
You ain't got to worry about me, bro. You ain't got to worry about impressing me. I don't give a shit. Smoke up.
No. I was like I said, I didn't smoke so I could be a clear head, but didn't work.
He's all fanboying. That's what it is, bro. He's just fanboying.
Please.
Even though
he's went to San Diego with me.
I was gonna say, even though he's hung out with you plenty of times, but he's like, oh my god, you're the girlfriend. You're the girlfriend that lives in a different city. That's what it is. This is proof that you're the girl in a different city. That's why.
All right.
Look, bro, when I was
this guy,
when I was in San Diego,
I have a girlfriend at camp.
I didn't smoke, right? I didn't have no smoke on me, so I'm going to people at the hotel. Hey, bro, you don't know where I get some smoke.
And you can find it easy out there now.
Yeah, now
oh my god, everywhere.
Yeah.
Hell, they even got that shop here in Metairie.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't believe. But it's funny. They only have it open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And the hilarious part about it is that it's actually in what used to be a Regis Bank. But
it's actually good, honestly. Yeah, if it ever becomes fully like legalized in Louisiana, they'll need a place like that because they have to keep their money. It's all cash business,
And they get taxed so much too.
It's already medical now, so that was always the first step.
They helped my wife out a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're going to do it in the French Quarter. Come on, that that's going to kill it.
Here's the thing. I don't know if you know, they didn't decriminalize it, but you have to have a certain amount on you before they're really going to even give a shit. If they catch you with like anything less than I think it's, and this is crazy. The last number I heard was anything less than 22 grams, which I was like, whoa, that's a lot. Like that's a pretty decent bit. But if you even
as
have
it
less
should
than
be,
that,
dude, as it should be. That should not be. Nobody should be getting in trouble with the law for weed.
It's medicine. It's not even. I don't even call it a drug, and then they have it still as a federally scheduled Scheduled 1.
It's so stupid.
Like,
yeah,
what the
I know.
fuck? Are you kidding? This is the same as crack. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Just to go off on a complete sidetrack rant. I mean, that's how you can tell the power of the pharmaceutical industry is because none of these presidents, like Obama, should have legalized it. Trump should have legalized it. Biden now should have legalized it. And they get so much fucking money from these pharmaceutical companies who don't want it legalized that's why it's still on that federal schedule list. You know, it's so stupid.
You know who should have legalized it? Really? It should have been Bill Clinton. Come on, man.
Yeah,
He's over there having all kinds of parties.
Yeah.
He plays the saxophone, man. Come on.
Right.
You don't think he smokes some weed? I'm pretty sure Bill Clinton's parties were pretty fucking awesome.
Even though the weed industry is pretty powerful in the states where it's legalized, it's still not on the level of Pfizer, you know, and all those fucking assholes.
Oh no, those are multi-billion.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
I think
Flashback.
that was 2011.
Yeah, 2011, I think.
Yeah, it was 2011.
I've been going since
I was
2009, and I've only missed a couple of years. So yeah, I think that was allowed. I went for a series there, and after that one, but yeah, I love that show. That's one of my favorite ones, man.
That's awesome.
Comic Con, San Diego.
Yeah,
I want to go because when Chris
went with a lot of money, came back broke.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. Yeah, that's what ends up happening. Hell, when we went to the Comic-Con here in Kenner, I was like, I'm not probably going to buy anything. I spent more money than everybody. And then Chris, had to go spend a whole bunch of money right at the end. Like, as we were leaving, we had been to this booth several times throughout the day, and he kept on looking at something. And then he finally stood there for like 25 minutes, was just staring at something. He's talking to the guy about it. Can I see that?
Well, if I'd have known what I know now, I would have them down more.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's froze on it
here.
Yeah, it gets wonky every once in a while.
All right, we're back. All right, there we
go.
Good. God, I don't know what the hell's going on with that. I guess my internet connection's crappy or something over here.
Where are you at right now?
I'm in New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, he froze again?
I try to move, maybe. All right, hold on. See if maybe if I move, it's better. We back? We good?
Yeah, we got you.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
all right, let's have some more fun. John, I know you're a collector. You still collect like movies or whatever, just collect stuff. I mean, I can't think of nothing off the top of my head, but you still collect stuff, right? No, he can't hear us.
I got you, Chris. Go ahead.
What's your prized possession? What's your number one thing? Like you would never part with, like, screw that. I'll never part outside of your Wolverine comic because I could get that one.
And your children. And your children, of course. Any children.
Well, that's debatable with me. If I could get a 181 for Taryn for like maybe an 8.5, well,
I would say my prized possessions, man. I got a Superman 2 movie poster. It's an Italian. It's called an Italian one sheet, so it's probably 2 to 3 times the size of a regular movie poster. And that thing's signed by Christopher Reeve, Gene Hackman, Mario Puzo, and Margot Kidder. It's signed by them.
What?
I've got Crazy. I've got a claw from the movie Logan that my son owns. A screen used one of Wolverine's claws from that movie.
Holy shit, that's fucking cool.
It's pretty cool. And then, dude, I don't know, maybe at the top of the list might be, I have this Batman print that I bought. God, I bought it in probably 2008. And it was released from Bob Kane Studios. Bob Kane, the co-creator of Batman. And I think they made 500, but only 100 of them came signed by him. But I've carried that thing around to conventions since I got it. And it's got around 60 or so signatures on it now from legendary Batman comic creators. And it's a one-of-a-kind piece. Nothing else like that exists in the world.
So it's priceless.
That's a pretty cool piece, too, that it would take a lot for me to part with that. You know,
I'm curious, what's some of the names on it?
Oh, dude, it's Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, Bernie Wrightson, Lynn, and amongst me and Lynn Williams, one of the creators of Wolverine. Bruce Tim Paul Dini, the creators of Harley Quinn, Neil Adams. Dude, there's a lot. There's everybody who's ever, other than Bill Finger, I think, who died before I got this thing. He was the actual co-creator of Batman, the artist that drew it, or the writer. I don't remember what he was, but he's the unheralded, uncredited guy that really did it with Bob Kane. But Jerry Robinson is the number 3 guy there. Him and another guy named Carmine Infantino. But Jerry Robinson supposedly created the Joker in the Batmobile. But I got him on it like a couple years before he passed away, and he was in his 90s. Dude, it's just Todd McFarlane's on there. Kevin Conroy is the only actor I would ever allow to sign it.
Oh, that's cool.
He was the
Cool.
Batman in the animated series voice Batman.
Yeah. You got Frank, huh? You got to have Frank Miller, huh?
Frank Miller's on there. Klaus Jansen's on there. Yeah, dude, it's a ton of folks.
Graham Nolan. You got a Graham Nolan.
Graham Nolan's on there.
Oh,
John Bogdanove.
That's 2 of my favorites right there. So.
Dude,
That's awesome.
It's a killer piece, man. I know it's the only piece. It has to be the only piece in the world that has all of those creators like signatures on one piece like that.
Every time you keep on putting another signature on it, it keeps on just increasing in value. And you
I know,
don't
dude.
know what the value is. It's like
I get it like framed.
How do I estimate this? I don't know.
Yeah, I always get it museum quality framed, and then every time one of those guys shows up at a new convention, I'm like, there's a very few short list on anybody else who I would add to it now. But if I happen to catch those guys, and I take it out of the frame and roll it up and carry it with me and get them to sign it and bring it back and reframe it again. So it's been an ongoing process like that now for well over a decade. But it's a cool ass piece. I put a lot of effort and time into getting all those signatures, so that was pretty awesome.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean that's serious. Yeah, I mean you got
that's,
all of those.
Just to take that anywhere would be killing me. Just to take that anywhere would be. Just
I keep a close eye on it.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah,
got to hire security. What's security for that right there? He stands right next to it.
I'm really happy with it. Right.
Yeah, just give me 4 of those. I'd be happy. Give me Bob Crane, Frank Miller, Graham Nolan, and Todd McFarlane. I'd be a happy motherfucker.
They're all on there. I have all those dudes.
That's
for
all
sure.
the 3 I need. I mean, I'd love to have a Dark Knight just signed by Frank Miller. I'd like to get that. So yeah, I got it right here. That's how close I keep it. The graphic novel, The Dark Knight.
There you go. That's a good one.
Probably one of the best Batman stories ever written.
Both of the creators of that are in there, Frank Miller and Klaus Jansen, for sure. That's a good Batman book, for sure.
That's what's up.
I still have a paperback book, John, from 1988, I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's a paperback book called The Batman Murders. And it's, just a regular paperback book. And it's like The Dark Knight almost. It's a detective story. And it's real good just for being a paperback because they give you a little bit more details on everything.
Yeah.
I still held on to it. It's like one of the few things I actually held on to.
Yeah, Batman's a title, man, where it's easier to find good stories than bad stories, I feel like, over all the eras, really. I mean, there's some really good stories being told in the past 20 years in that title. Nightwing is another one that's been really, really good lately. I've heard. I haven't really followed it fully, but.
Yeah, Nightwing became. I remember when Nightwing became Nightwing, or became Nightwing, and they made him into his own thing, and it worked.
That was a Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think that happened in. Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember discovering him in Batman, the one where he met Jason Todd.
Yeah.
And he met Jason Todd for the first time, and that's when him and Batman would talk, and he's like, "Oh, we'll do what you think, man." Pretty much. And poor Jason Todd. He killed his
I hate
ass.
this. I don't know how much I'm cutting in and out on.
You're
good.
good.
You guys
You're
moving.
fine.
I'm like, okay, we're good.
No, you're good.
I might have to wrap it up in a little bit. And we have to do a
that's
two-parter.
cool.
No, that's fine.
No, we're gonna have you on, man. Actually, if you want to go ahead and tell us about the new book coming out, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
All right. So we got a couple coming out. The first one that's coming is one called Comic Book Trivia. I'm really happy about that one. That one is me and my friend Robbie Musso. We're finally get together on a book, and it's a little short comic book story, but it opens up into 150 trivia questions from all eras of comic history. A lot of the stuff we've been talking about.
That's
on there.
awesome.
Yeah, that one's really cool. That one was supposed to be out August 30th, but the lady that runs the print company that a publisher uses, she had some health issues, so it got set back a little bit. It'll probably be back another week or so before it's in stores. Coming up very soon, we have Signal 29, which is my one-shot zombie story. That's basically me and Chris and I, mutual friend Sean, we're basically characters in this story where we it's a one and done. So you buy it and it's the whole story in one comic issue. But we basically go to this motel to pronounce a dead body, and it's patient zero of a zombie outbreak. So that was called Signal 29. That one will be out in September. Then we have a little bit of a gap. And then November 1st, Luke Guru comes out, which is my werewolf one-shot story. Really excited about that one.
I'm interested in here, still watching that or reading that one too. That one sounds fun.
That one's a lot of fun. That story behind that one is there's a cameraman out in Los Angeles is out of work, and he's due to the COVID pandemic, the industry's been shut down, so he can't get any work. So his agent opens the story by calling him, saying, "Hey man, I got you a gig. You're going to be filming this," and he sends it to him, and it's a reality show called Bayou Life that's filmed down in Des Allemands, Louisiana. You know, I'm sorry, I don't know how much of that cut out.
No, nothing cut out.
Okay.
The video was shot, but the audio was perfect.
Okay, that's good. As long as you can still hear me, I guess that's all that matters. But yeah, so they go down to the bayous of Louisiana to film this show, and unfortunately, the first night's a full moon.
Oh,
and
shit.
they encounter the legendary Luke Guru or Rougarou, whatever you want to call it around here.
Huh?
That's awesome. I remember when I first came down here, and I was like, "What's this thing called again?"
Yeah,
They're like a Rougarou. I'm like, okay. I'm like, so like a swamp thing? They're like, no, it's not a swamp thing. I was like, my bad. Like like, they were offended because I was talking to some real coon ass, which that was a new word for me too. I grew up in Chicago, so the first time I heard somebody say coon ass, I'm like, I don't even. Did you just swear at me? What's going on here? They're different. Like, I met one of my boys. His grandma lived outside of Lafayette in the swamps, like, and we're just driving down this road, and on either side of the road is nothing but swamp. I'm like, is this road here all the time? He's like, sometimes of the year it's a little wet. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm like, where are we going, bro? I'm like, you going to kill me? It's like, this is some Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit. I thought we were cool, bro. I thought we were boys. What's going on?
Hey, everybody down the road. If you're around if you're in the New Orleans area, you really should look out. And I just learned that it exists this year. Apparently, it's been going on for a while. It's called the Rougarou Fest. It's a 3-day outdoor festival in Houma, Louisiana, towards the end of October. I think it's the weekend of the 20th. But it's a big festival. It's all ages. It's free to get into. I plan on being there with an exclusive version of Rougarou that would actually be the first place you can get it. Is there. And then we're going to do a Kickstarter for another one of the variants for that one that'll probably kick off at the end of September. And then the book we're working on right now is one that I'm really, really excited about. It's called The Dirt Witch, but that one's not going to be out probably until early part of 2024 because it's finished with the pencils now, but it's the rest of the art team still doing their thing on it. But that one's badass. I'm really looking forward to that one.
That's crazy. I actually have a reason to go to Houma now. That's fun.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. That Rougarou Fest, man. It seems pretty cool. Like I said, they told me, yeah, we pulling 25,000 people a day in this festival. I'm like,
Jesus.
Damn, okay. So there's all sorts of food, and it's all based around a charity. So it's like a wetlands charity that runs the thing. So all the money they raise goes towards coastal restoration and kind of habitat protection and things like that. So you go down there, have a good time. They do a big werewolf parade, and again, it's all ages. So kids and stuff. There's a lot of food, music, arts and crafts and stuff like that. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. I'm excited to go for the first time this year.
That sounds awesome. Looks like Chris, me and the Bayou Geeks might have to take a road trip.
Literally, yeah. Be on the Bayou.
We'll have to do a remotely show.
That's fine.
It'll be awesome.
As long as you got internet and electricity, we're fine.
I'm planning to go down there with another local horror novelist named Mark Stiano. He's a really cool dude. Hopefully, he and I'll be sharing a table down there, and I'll have some of the comics and he'll have his books and stuff like that. But yeah, that's my next events coming up, and that's the books that I'm working on right now. And hopefully, if all this stuff goes well, man, we can go into 2024. Have the train back on the tracks a little bit better, and we can resume that second half of Endangered. That's kind of what we're hoping to be able to do. Yeah, we definitely plan on finishing it. It's just a matter of money and all that kind of stuff.
Like I said, I think you got a story that it could be a book. I mean, it's that. I mean, like I said, it was like you read through it, and you went through it so quick. It's like, wow, I could ask a million questions on this and that. Okay, let me ask you one question, John. Your origin, what happened? What happened with the nuclear war? How did it start?
No, that's good. He's going to tell us that in the next set of seasons.
Well, they're going to tell you that or go back that far?
You'll see it on the ground, like just before the shit hits the fan. I wanted
what happened or why it happened, something like that.
I kind of wanted to tell the backstory because in issue 4 you meet those Earth survivors, the devolved kind of bug armored people. And so I kind of wanted to go back and tell their origin story and show a little bit about who those dudes are and how they wound up kind of where they're at now.
Gotcha.
You know, and kind of you kind of see on ground level as the fucking world is falling apart. You know, people are killing each other in the streets and, you know, looting and rioting and all that kind of stuff's going on. Planes falling out of the sky, then missiles coming down.
Cats and dogs living together.
Yeah, exactly.
So 2020, that's what you're talking about. You're just talking about 2020.
Basically,
cool.
2020. Yeah, slightly.
When COVID hit, all right, sweet.
Cranked up to about 11 on the knob there. Yeah. But man, listen, I've had a lot of fun, guys. I'd love to come back and do a follow-up with y'all.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks for coming out.
Sorry, my internet's been so crappy, and I'm afraid I'm going to drop off here.
No, we'll definitely have you back on. I mean, maybe before even the end of the year. I mean, we try to do something all the time. So
anytime, dude. Anytime, I would love to get back on. We'll talk. So maybe let these couple books come out, and you guys play around with them and see what you think. We'll come back on. And talk some
you
more
never know. You guys, Gary, you may get a text from me one day. You want to come on tonight? We're just gonna have some fun. You never know.
Anytime, dude. If I'm available, I'll be more than happy to go back.
Try to
and
get
go live
you
with you guys anytime.
Try to get Shoney on too the same time.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what's up. Hell yeah,
all right, fellas. That sounds good, man.
John, appreciate it again for you coming out, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks to
Talk
everyone.
about your book. Yeah.
John, one more thing.
Yes.
Tell everybody where they can find the books at, real quick.
It's easy. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Look up Endangered Comic. So it's Endangered, like endangered species, and the word comic. Endangered Comic. Facebook, Instagram. You'll find me on there.
Cool.
Hit him up.
Thank
y'all.
you, my friend.
Showing the Bayou Geeks some love.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Listen, I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for everybody who's listened to us ramble for this long, and we'll do it again for sure soon.
We will.
Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate
it.
it,
boys.
Baby.
I'm out, man.
Right.
Y'all have a good one. Thank you.
Later, bro.
Right.
That was awesome. That was nice, man. That was.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That was a lot more than I expected to get. Like honestly, I wasn't sure.
I felt like we were grown-ups tonight.
It's weird. It's like what? I asked questions.
I want to get
a couple of times.
I know we were kind of ignored in the chat because I was just kind of letting John does his thing. You just let him go. You know, John used to have a podcast and it was just him and his partner, but it would be just John. So you just let John go, and that's why I was just like, go ahead, John, do your thing. But I want to get to some of them, like Chris. I remember when Comic-Con was nothing. Had some random hotel banquet hall. Yeah. I mean, they still like that. The San Diego is the main one. I mean, that's the mother of them all.
Yeah, but the one that I've seen in New Orleans, like at the convention center at the Memorial,
it's still small fries. It's still small fries in San Diego.
But compared to like what they used to be, like I wouldn't even imagine that. Like
yeah.
San Diego was the only one you ever heard of, but now I'll go on Instagram and I'll see.
Well, no, they were always around. Like Chris said, they were at hotels and shit at the time.
Well, that's what I'm
saying.
Now
since the corporate came in, it had to expand.
Hey, there are people that are spending money. Let's throw some sponsorship, though. Let's get some of our fucking money in there, bro. Come on.
All right, Chris again. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. No, what you were saying?
I'm drinking a Sprite. I don't know. I finished saying what I was saying.
My most prized possession is a Infinity Gauntlet in a mini glass case. Is it real, or I mean, like, what's
you know what I seen one time? I forgot who it was. One of the guys from the Lord of the Rings. Couldn't remember who it was, but the rings that they actually had them for everybody that was in the cast. But then there was a few that were missing. So they're like, there's actually like 2 or 3 like rings from the Lord of the Rings that were props. They were actual props from the movie that are out there in the world somewhere. And I'm like, how cool would that be to fucking have one of those fucking rings?
Like the Big Bang Theory episode when they got one and then Sheldon became Gollum. That was great.
That shit was. No, my favorite episode of that one was when Sheldon broke the Spock transporter.
Oh yeah, it was talking to him. Sheldon, you can't do that.
His little action
figure, posing shit.
The posing was the greatest. That shit was so funny to me.
Gary, we're reverting back to kids again.
Oh no,
back
sorry.
bro.
That's okay. You guys gone.
Damn, man.
My other most prized possession is my God King Dr. Doom pop vinyl. That's cool.
Can someone educate me? Is that pop vinyl those little big head things?
The little Funko things, I think. Yes.
Really?
So. Yeah.
A God King Dr. Doom. Huh. I knew I'd never heard the God King.
Must be a variant. That's probably why. It's probably rare. One of those ones you don't see very often. So makes sense. But that's cool. We actually coordinated today with Star Wars. That's so fucking. We never coordinate. I didn't even call you or talk to you about it. And then you just walk away. Looking for comic books.
Chris. This is my most prized possession because it put me. It put me in a financial debt. And I'll open it real quick, and one day I will demonstrate. Gary knows what this is.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
As I seen the box, I was like, I know what that is.
That is a self-transforming Optimus Prime.
That shit is so fucking cool. I love that thing.
Yeah, I will take it out one night and put the camera on it. But yes, that's my most and probably my Darth Vader, because I did that by scratch and it's just fucking cool.
I remember when you did that. I remember when you got it and you told me you were doing it and you had to get the mannequin parts and you were putting it together and just how much time it took you to do it and how good it looks. It's like, yeah, that's a lot of effort, man. That's a lot of effort. That's like when you see somebody put together like the Lego Death Star and then somebody just smashes it. It's like, I'm going to kill you now. You know how many hours it took me to do that? Are you fucking kidding me? It's basically a 3D puzzle. Like, those things are crazy.
I told Brandy, I was like, no one gets my Optimus Prime. It gets buried with me.
It's buried with you? You don't even know.
Just transform into a robot and just... And as you're closing the coffin, he's like, goodbye.
He's gonna be next to your coffin at the funeral home. He's gonna be sitting there transforming on the table next to it.
Oh, I don't talk about shit like that. Bad luck. That's a bad sign. I don't do that. I'm funny like that. I don't like joke around like that because it's something really happened like that, and I was like, oh, I'll never do that again. But yeah. Well, it'll be in the will. Yeah.
Here goes your winking it again.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what's funny? I actually seen an Instagram video the other day. It's probably why it came to mind that a guy a year before he passed away recorded with his best friend a final message. But his final message was making it sound like he was still in the coffin and wondering why they're burying him. So he's just sitting in there, like the coffin's literally dropped down, all of the families around, everybody's sad, and his best friend that was still alive was supposed to play this, and he hits play on his phone or on a speaker or something, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, is anybody out there? And it's like you hear him knocking on the door, and I'm like, oh my God. And then everybody started laughing because like the little caption said, he's like, he wanted everybody to laugh. And then he was like saying some goodbyes in there, but he was just being real funny. He's like, it's so dark. He's like, oh, who else is in here with me? And like, it was just like, and he just kept on going on, and everybody was just losing it because apparently that was his thing. Like he was a big jokester, a prankster. So that was that last joke, even when he was gone. It was just like, that was fucking great. It was like, that's perfect.
That is
like,
awesome.
That's a better memory. Like it's always a much better memory to be like, that's how I want to go. I want a big party.
Well, we see there's a couple people on. Holla out. Who's on here with us? So we can give you a shout out for staying around. I'm sure Chris, he's, oh, Jesus, damn. So we only got 2 people watching us. Damn.
Oh, it's just me and you.
And Chris is on here. Thanks for hanging around, Chris.
Yeah.
You know, we may have to replace our 3rd chair guy because he couldn't show up apparently. Chris, there may be an opening spot.
Oh man. But yeah, man, that was awesome having John on there. I'm glad I got to listen to him. He talked about his book because that's what it is. It's you can call it a comic if you want, but it's really it's a book. It's just a book in a different form.
It should be. It should be,
and it is. It's a really good storyline, and it was just like to hear how he got like the idea of it was just funny. Like I always like to hear that. Like that was such a great question with asking like, what was the origin story? Like, what made you think of this? And he's like, I was sitting outside and just watching some fucking ants. Like what? This is what this became of. But you hear stories like that all the time about people like, you know, with how they became this big movie star or this great director because of something small and simple that just it sparked something, and the next thing you know, boom, like the show. Like you've been wanting to do this for as long as I've known you. And we've known each other for almost 13 years. Like, and here it is. Like,
well, yeah, I could say it started with me and little Mike in a sports store, just hanging out, working one night. And that was when, dude, I'm going to have to get the other picture, the very first promo pic I ever made that, you know, didn't happen, but I have it on the old computer. And I'm going to show you how different shit was for me back then compared to how I do shit now. I told Mike I'm going to have to get it out.
Yeah, Christy's on here too. She wants to make sure we don't forget her.
Oh no, I knew. Oh, I knew she was on here.
Oh yeah, she's always on here. Whenever we're on live, she goes. Oh man. But yeah, man. So what else has been going on this week? Nothing much. Anything in particular? Yeah.
I was working for the weekend this week, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, no, me too. I had to come home after work tonight and clean the pool, and then of course, as soon as I'm done cleaning it and just treating it, of course, the sky opens up and like 3 inches of water falls in my backyard. So happy.
It rained?
Bro, it rained so bad over here. Like at first, I looked at it and it was a tiny little baby cloud. I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be gone." And then then it just opened up. I'm miles and miles away from you, bro. Like I'm basically on the other side of the world. I might as well be.
Taking off Monday?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I just put my shit over the week. I won't go back, be a back day, but I'll just put them over the week.
Yeah, no, me too. That's what I do too. I just spread them out. I'm like, oh, my Friday will just be a little bit longer because I got more of my pools in Kenner on Thursdays and Fridays anyway. So,
Chrissy said you have to barbecue tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm
doing it Monday.
Yeah, we're doing it. I don't like to do it on the day before because I like to have a day of rest and stuff. I got other shit to do on Sunday. Monday's my day.
She said, "Yes, you are."
Yeah, I know I am. I know I'm barbecuing.
She said naked with an apron. With the ass hanging out like a chaps. like Ving Rhames and Baby Boy. you want some breakfast?
Yeah, no, I'm good. No, but yeah, no, I'm not barbecuing on Monday, baby. That's what you got to listen to what we're saying. She's out there just yapping. Oh my goodness, love her.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, this week I got sick yesterday at my first pool, and I was like, oh, I'm going home. I came home, got sick, did what I had to do, and I was like, no, I'm going back. I was uptown, came all the way home, then went back uptown. I'm like, I'm getting this shit done. Because yesterday was the nicest day we had in God knows how long.
Yeah, it was pretty nice yesterday.
And I was like, I can't waste it today. I cannot waste today. I went back out.
That's the worst when you feel sick and you waste it on a nice day outside. Because we work outside.
And I didn't want to work this weekend on a Saturday. I didn't. Not this weekend anyway. No. I need the 3-day break. I do have to work tomorrow, but it's my one's out here and it's 3. And between you and me, it'll take me like 5 minutes. You know?
Look, man, I had to go back to a pool that I had a treat earlier this week to make sure it was good for the weekend, and they're out of town.
Really?
Yeah. Because I asked one of the neighbors, because I do 3 pools, same block, and it's 1 on one side and 2 on the other. And I'd seen both of the other neighbors, and they both told me, no, they're not even home. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm glad I'm here.
Okay.
super happy that I'm here.
We're going to be wrapping up in a few, but I got to tell you this story, what happened to me. First time this has ever happened to me. Y'all, check it out. I'm on my last pool, and Gary could tell you, the day like you're waiting for something to happen, like if it's the day before you're going on vacation, whatever, something you're looking forward to, you're going to have the worst day before that. For some reason, it just works out like that. Today was one of the worst fucking days I've had, Fridays I've had in God knows how long. I had to clean a cell, which I usually never have to clean. I had one pool had looked like a flower pot fell into it. I mean, it was all kinds of shit, one after another, right? I get to the last one, bro. I still got to go to the office. I still got to go get paid. I still got to go bring my receipts in. Get to the last one, right? Super easy. Boom, in and out. As I'm leaving, the new owners of the house, he come outside. He's about in the garage. He's like, oh, yeah, what you doing? And I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? And he's like, yeah, I'm building my man cave because they still renovating the house, right? He's like, yeah, come in, check it out. I'm like, okay. And he's like, he collects like old vintage furniture and like history, like on the wars and all this vintage crazy shit, right? Gary, I was there 25 minutes listening to a fucking history lesson.
Oh yeah, he got you.
And this motherfucker was like, you hear me, you understand, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, look at this picture right here. What this was taken in 1884, whatever the fuck it was. How do you think they took that picture? And I'm like, they drew it from memory? No. Think about it. And I'm like, an air balloon? That's correct. And I'm like, okay. Then he kept on telling me about his family fucking history and the generations. And I'm like, yes, okay.
And that's going to turn into $100 at Christmas.
It better. It's fucking better. I better get some fucking shit for Christmas from people that have not paid the fiddler ever, and it shocks me. And I ain't gonna say names on here, but
Oh no, I got customers like that too that I've
and
had
it's
for a
like,
very long time.
really, I've been doing your shit for 10 years, and you still haven't given me fucking money for lunch.
Dude, I had a customer give you $20 for Christmas, and I was like, "All right, cool, thanks." Then the next week they gave me $5. Like, oh, I didn't think we give you anything for Christmas. And I'm like,
they pulled the trading places on you. Here's your Christmas bonus, $5. I gotta go to the movies by myself.
I'm like, I can't even buy a pack of smokes for $5. What are you doing?
They got all trading places on you.
Oh man, bro. It is what it is, bro. But yeah, man.
Oh, we forgot about your Christmas bonus.
It was a good show tonight. I had fun. I had a good time with John. Other than his internet cutting in and out, which is, it's New Orleans, so who knows what's going on down there. It's fucking weird. Oh man.
I gotta do it, bro. I gotta do it. Let me see if I can find. I gotta do it.
Wow.
There we go.
Ezra, right on time. Guess you thought I'd forgotten your Christmas bonus. There you are.
$5. Maybe I'll go to the movies.
That was the wife, huh?
Oh man.
Yeah, that's fucking. I love that movie.
Dude.
Them rich motherfuckers. That shit burns my ass, huh?
Dude, it was funny, bro. I loved in Coming to America when they saw him on the street and Eddie Murphy gave him all that money.
Oh, Mortimer, we're back.
That was such a great callback. Like that's one of the first callbacks that I remember from one movie to a totally different movie. It wasn't even part of a franchise, kind of thing, where it crossed over from two different movies. Because Trading Places, Coming to America, were not anything connected to them other than some of the actors that were in it. That's it. So it was great, bro. I love that. That shit was funny. It's good stuff.
You know what that shit reminds me of, right?
Power!
You know I was getting it in somewhere.
I knew you were too. I was waiting for it, bro.
Gary's being all careful.
What are you talking about, bro?
Power!
We're so gonna get canceled because of that shit. Oh my god, that's so fucking funny, bro. Oh man. Oh man. Oh my god. Oh shit, man. All right, bro. Let's go do your thing. Yeah, do your thing, bro.
Well, I gotta do our shout outs, and I'm gonna get them right this week. Why?
You're not,
Dirk,
bro.
this one's for Dirk.
Oh, he's gonna fuck it up now.
First, we got the Mo Dirk City podcast.
Oh shit, he did it.
Dirk and Mojo, check them out on YouTube. We got Spitball Media. That's John Draper, Cheyenne, and B. Show Brian. We also got Wrestling Suit with Missionary Thomas, Joey Numbers, and our good friend Kevin Castle. And of course, our friend as always, Mr. Chris Matthews. I don't know if he's done any more sauces lately, but Chris, we're waiting on the next sauce. Get on with it. And some of our fans, Jeff Lipman hit me up today on Facebook. He knows some people down here that are all into voodoo. And he's like, if we're ever looking for people that, we want to talk to that about, he's like, hit him up. He can, So it was cool. Somebody looking out for us. Thank you, Jeff, or Liberty Lipman, like Mr. John Draper says every week.
Oh man.
Okay, now he missed his cue, guys.
What, bro? There's nobody else you gotta promote? I thought you were promoting more people.
It's your part of the show.
What show? We're on a show? What are we doing? Everybody, check us out. Rate, review, subscribe, share, follow, whatever it is you got to do. Whatever it is on the interwebs. Tell your mom and them.
Yeah, make sure if you're listening on YouTube, watch on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It helps us out.
Yep.
We're trying to build.
Helps us out a lot. I got to feed all these damn animals I have in my house.
right? It's not about the money.
Yeah, of course not, because the government controls everything.
Yep.
Power!
Thank you. I'm glad you got it. Oh shit.
I'm getting good, baby.
Shit. Oh my god. I was trying to steer it that way on purpose too. Good. All right, let's go.
All right, guys. We'll
All right,
catch y'all
Sean.
next week. Third chair be back, maybe. You know, Chris Matthews maybe in that third seat. The other guy may be fired. Nah, Dirk will be back next week, guys. What the fuck me holding a glass for? Dirk will be back next week. We'll actually, I don't know. We'll touch on next week. We'll see. I mean, it's been slow, so
Oh, we can do that list that we were supposed to do.
what thing?
The 80s list, remember?
Oh, that's right. The like low grade movies, not blockbusters and shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We'll do that.
Let's not give too much away. Let's have him coming back for more.
Yeah. I mean, not that's right because we changed it because of the Bray Wyatt thing.
Yep.
But all right, man. I will talk to you. I'm sure sometime this weekend.
Most definitely. Football's starting up too, bro.
Like, damn, I didn't tell fucking John. He's a Seminoles fan too. Fuck.
Oh, why?
Because he's from Florida.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Florida State's my second favorite team though.
Really?
On my wish list is just to go watch one home game so I could go do the tomahawk chop.
That's my favorite team right there.
The U. I love the U back in the day, you know. But
I still love them now, bro. Even though they suck, I still love them.
Dude, I just want to go do the tomahawk chop.
No, fuck that chop. I hate the Florida State. I don't like Florida State.
Why you don't like? Dude, you don't like the tomahawk chop?
No, fuck them.
Wow, come on. What?
Corporation.
No, that's not. Actually, no, that's not true.
Oh no, we're not gonna do this. We already said goodbye.
What?
You do this shit to me all the time. You bait me into a conversation after we said shout outs and what's ups and baby, I love you. I love you, baby cakes. You know who you are.
Okay, we'll continue this conversation next week.
Yeah, when Florida loses. LSU.
Yeah, well, yeah, I want them to lose too.
Then you really aren't a fan.
No, I'm not talking about LSU. I'm talking about Florida State.
They're playing LSU on Sunday night.
I have to pick between the two. I'm going with the Tigers.
Okay, well, there you go. That's
go Tigers. We're making homemade ice cream that night.
That's what you guys call it? Is that what the kids call it? Homemade ice cream?
Yeah. It better be homemade ice cream. I paid fucking $40 for them,
All right, bro. You didn't get the joke, but let's go.
Yeah. I mean, it became a joke in itself.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Appreciate all the love.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Later. Peace, y'all.
Nope. Held there like a bunch of idiots.